speakers, judges, panelists, and aspiring entrepreneurs. Today, we welcome you all to this E-Summit, Pathfinder, the entrepreneurship cell of KG Institute of Management. In an evolving world where nothing remains constant, it's time for all entrepreneurs to grab opportunity and evolve. In this digitalized world, evolution is the only constant. Now, I would like to introduce our chief guest, Mr. Vikas Chauhan. Mr. Vikas Chauhan is a prominent name in Indian startup scenario, as well as an esteemed alumnus of KG Somaiya Institute of Management. Since graduating from the college with an MBA in marketing in 2010, he has founded Mumbai's first online grocery store, Fresh MLE and Health and Wellness, based startup Tata One NG, previously Health Card Plus. He's presently the co-founder of Hexa Health. Hexa Health is a platform that assists users to find the right surgeon or hospital for their surgical procedures, alongside ensuring a hassle-free surgery and post-operation care. We are honored to have you, sir. We would like you to speak some words for us. Vikas, sir. We continue forward. Next, I would like to introduce our panelist, Prasenjit Debroy, who is present with us here. After exploring several roles in the past decade, he found his passion in working on inclusive projects and used technology to improve lives. He served as a fellow for Swachh Bharat Mission, Rangi. He currently leads operations at Brooks Ecosystem Foundation, a non-profit focused on building a culture of innovation, problem solving, and entrepreneurship in undeserved geography to solve local problems and build the future. The pandemic exposed the problem in inaccessible education for several local children. They are also building Tara, a text and audio-based learning tool to address this digital divide and help children learn. We are honored to have you here, sir. Thank you very much for your presence. We would like to have your words here as well. Please gather around my please have a seat here, sir. I would like to have a huge round of applause, please. We have a keynote speaker here, Mr. Sanjay Tripathi. He has an illustrious career of over 20 years, spearheading various large businesses and managing D2C and e-commerce sites. His expertise include InsurTech, business development, and customer acquisition. Azure Labs offers extensive strategy and execution service for up and coming startups to help them achieve a seed-ready valuation in 9 to 12 months. We are honored to have you here, sir. I would like to welcome you here. Thank you very much. Our second panelist is Ujit Jain, who is basically the co-founder of EVAN, Eagle Wings Venture Alliance Network. He is currently on the way. I would like to introduce him. Mr. Jain is well known for consulting and operational efficiencies, cost management, strategy building, and growth hacking. Eagle Wings Ventures supports various startups through fundraising and business development. He'll be joining us soon. I would like to now call Siddhant to continue forward.
Thank you, Richard. So, welcome to this event. And I'm really glad to have so many entrepreneurs around us. It actually is a network of this. So, sir, without further ado, I'm pretty sure many of us want to know both of your journeys, like what happened, how you got the idea to start this, and what are the challenges that you faced when you started initially, and of course, the impact of COVID on your business. So, sir, I think anyone who wants to start this, yes, sir, please. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. And before I start, I think he started very well. Success is from failure to failure to you find success. So, I was a very successful corporate executive. I worked in companies like Amul, Pepsi, Mattel, then Reliance, and Procom, then HDFC Life. My last job was I was a senior executive vice president heading marketing, digital, e-commerce, product, PR, and at least half of the company's portfolio kind of. I don't know what happened to me. So startup called, I thought with me, and I thought I should do something different. Now that I've done so much in corporate, can I really do and challenge myself kind of. So it's over a period of time the realization that the job, once you go higher up in the corporate, you basically have to do nothing, in the sense, because you've got layers and layers of people. They're doing things. You're basically giving them opinion whether it is right or wrong, giving direction kind of thing. So you're no longer attached more on the execution side, you're more on the directional side. So what happens, you get lost touch with ground kind of thing. I was a marketing professional. I always love to really see what is happening in the market, what is the customer feedback kind of thing. But I found it increasingly become difficult for me to really go and talk to my customers, talk to my distributors kind of thing, because there are other people are supposed to do that, and on that basis I'm supposed to give an opinion. So in 2017, I think almost more than 5 years back, I quit my corporate job. I went to Stanford to do advanced management. So when I went to Stanford, I discovered people from across the world, and one good thing I discovered that sitting here, you don't know whether you are good, bad, ugly, where you stand kind of thing. When I actually interacted with so many founders, so many people, stalwarts from different companies, with me, there is a lady who is now a minister in Singapore, so different people, CEOs of multinational companies, global companies, startup founders. Then I realized that, fundamentally we are all right, we are on the right track, but we don't have the courage to really start something of our own. So there, we get a lot of exposure. So I spent some time in the Silicon Valley ecosystem. Then I found there is a kind of companies available there, which is not there in our ecosystem, which is called growth. They help in growth of the companies. Like a company like Uber and many of the successful companies really has come through that module. So what it does is they don't really provide funding, but if a founder is, let's say, having X capability, they provide the Y capabilities to him. For example, if the founder is a domain expert, they will give him, then implement tech and marketing and other things, so that his startup can really move faster. Similarly, if the guy is a tech founder, they will provide the domain capability and other help, so that the startup can get funding quicker. I quite like the model. I came to India and I searched the market. I didn't find any of the companies were doing that. So mostly there are a lot of incubators available. Incubators are more like in a place where they provide opportunity for you to meet, but no deeper work kind of thing. So the incubator is not really working deeper. Incubator is more like an institution. We provide facilities. It's up to you to learn, up to you to grasp. So it is like a schedule of programs. Yeah, like someone will see your POC, someone will help you in growth strategy, someone will give you go-to-market strategy. Then they will put a funding, they will do you have to present your pitch before guys, and you will get funding. So the model we worked on in the with the startups we actually work deeper, almost like 9 to 12 months, so that until the time they get seed funding or the next round of funding. So that's a very interesting journey. So it helped me to work across sectors. So not just in the areas which are compatible with, say for example, fintech and insurtech or something on marketing side. I was pretty comfortable, but not the areas, let's say like a deep tech areas like a drone technology or getting into FMCG, getting into deep rural kind of thing. But over a period of time, I got confidence myself because with the adjacent fields kind of thing. So I work across sectors. We work with almost 200 startups at a broad level, but almost 25 startups at the next level, and at least 5 startups at a very, very deep level kind of thing. Personally, it gave me a lot of knowledge. I learned a lot from the founders. I learned different ways to do things. The second thing is that it also gave me courage to invest in startups, because what are the right investment to do. So I personally invested more than close to 20 startups now, and a couple of them has really given very good returns kind of thing. But it is like a journey. I went to the thing of learning myself, helping startups. In that process, I also got benefited by investing in startups and get my returns kind of thing. So personally, I gave me a lot of good learning opportunities. Once you got older, you hardly learn. Basically you go by your past learning. So what did the opportunity help me in terms of working with closely with startups and people like you? It helped me to learn newer things, work with newer areas. Second, because of my past working now, almost close to 30 years of working, I can connect the dots quicker. So what happens if the startup is looking for an investor? I can connect that guy because someone is looking for a tech solution. I can get to solution expert to solutioning for it. So overall, it helps for win-win for both the parties. So that's a little about my journey. So if time permits, anyone who wants to know more, I'm happy to say more.
Hi. My name is Prasanjeev. Unlike Sanjay sir here, my career. Hello. Okay, so I was saying, unlike Sanjay sir here, my career rather has been a very non-linear one. I got placed post MBA in a edtech company, worked with edtech startup for the first 3 years. I took some time off. I joined Tata Trust, a fellowship for the Swachh Bharat Mission Grameen, with the objective of trying to work with government, the machinery, understand what is actually happening on the ground, to also understand how do rural dynamics actually work. जो beneficiary गाँव में हैं, what are their challenges? You can read them in a book, but you need to understand those at the ground level. So my tryst with startups is not very new. When I was in my MBA, incidentally I joined my MBA college in Sims Pune 10 years back in 2012. So nice to be in campus. So initially I was a part of a Launchpad program aimed to foster innovation and entrepreneurship between 2 B schools in Pune. Ours was the only one which actually took shape. We tried to build a startup called Office Drop. So think of your shuttle today. So we're trying to build something very similar, addressing the pain point of one employee going to office 30 days. How do we take a pain away, which is driving, parking, insurance costs, maintenance costs. During Tata Trust, I actually came to Riddle. We were trying to build a startup even then. The objective was to build a cleaning solution which is working and deployable in the rural environment. The technology background to this is under the SBM program, we are trying to promote a twin bed toilet where the toilet is not supposed to be you're not supposed to use Harpic to clean the toilet. Rather than after 2 years of the toilet being closed, automatically the decomposed excreta becomes usable for manure. It can actually be touched by hand. Alright. So to ensure this is happening, you need a solution which is not Harpic, which does not kill the good bacteria. Unfortunately, we were not able to synthesize a solution way back then. So I parted ways. I joined Jarvis Consulting after Tata Trust. I worked for political consulting firms. I was part of the Lok Sabha elections in Delhi, which we won. Came to Bombay for the March elections, which we lost, unfortunately. But I always wanted to work at the intersection of data, impact, program management, and technology. That's what I've been doing the past 5 years. I joined Brooks around 3 years back. So Abhijit, who was my fellow counterpart in the fellowship, he started this in this non-profit after the program. So I joined these guys. The reason I'm telling you all of this is because this is very important for you to understand that entrepreneurship is good to learn in a classroom or even out in the world. But to become an entrepreneur, you may not always be in the right mindset. You may not always have a clear path given to you. It so happens that you are on a path and you see a problem faced by a lot of people because it is not being solved by any solution or any provider currently in the market. That is where you embark on trying to build a solution which addresses that need, that divide. And that is where eventually you will meet your product market fit. So the PM fit is very crucial. A lot of startups now who have raised a lot of valuation and millions of funding, even now they don't have PM fit. You can research on it online. So we started doing entrepreneurship programs for women entrepreneurs and students pre-pandemic. Post-pandemic, the entire setup went for a toss. We realized that in cities like Nagpur, students don't have access to smartphones. Smartphones are owned by the earning members of family, typically a male member. Students don't have access to money to recharge their devices. So we experimented with a lot of platforms. We used Facebook Learning initially to have live sessions. It also allows you to have a chat with the speaker. We saw engagement of around 40-50%. Then we switched to WhatsApp. We got MBA interns, 27 WhatsApp group, 27 MBA interns. One intern talks to a student in one college on the WhatsApp group itself to push, drive engagement. It reached 60%. Now we realize that a lot of students don't even open WhatsApp. It's free, we're doing it for them. Education is for them, it's beneficial for them, right? Then we used Group Talk, which is the audio conferencing platform. So now what happens is that, let's say Sagar, I saw a person name here. So let's say Sagar receives a call on his mobile phone at a pre-scheduled time. 50 of you receive a phone call on your phone. आपको सिर्फ phone उठाना है. And now what happens is that now we are having a one-to-many conversation initially, and then we can have a one-to-one conversation on the same platform itself without having everybody else talking at the same time. So this is where engagement shot up to 80%. Then started thinking, is there something in the market which aggregates all of these solutions together, a low-cost, low-tech solution? Unfortunately, all the tech startups in India today, they don't have anything which is low-tech, low-cost, and that is when we thought, let us build one. We initially thought of solving the problem for our internal stakeholders, our beneficiaries, our students. Then we realized that this is the problem faced by 350 million students globally. Sorry, almost 2 million students globally. India has 350 million. So this is a very big problem. And this is how we started, building Ekatra. As it stands, we're talking about being in the beta phase. We've successfully trained 12,000 students on our platform using Telegram, using WhatsApp. Telegram is very low cost for us, but engagement is much more high on WhatsApp because of sheer numbers and because Gen Z is very active on WhatsApp, much more than Telegram. Today, I don't want to give you any fancy reason to to become an entrepreneur. My only two bits are: one, learn and harness your true strength. So every one of you will have some of the other strengths. You don't have to be bogged down if your strengths do not match others. What today you have can actually be very beneficial for you, and that is what actually makes you an individual. The second thing is, if entrepreneurship is what you want to do, don't have to go into it in a very focused manner. Try to find or try to keep your eyes open. Try to see what is it that is happening in the world. If let's say your focus is maybe automobiles, for example, which is also my passion, so then you understand what is the pain point being faced by customers. Alright. So I was invited to an event in my college in October. So one of my seniors, he is building a tech solution which now ensures that every vehicle, every automobile is being sold. So for example, with MG, they are a startup which is funded by MG Motors. So their device actually has the entire information about the vehicle. This information is now being used for both safety as well as to bring down insurance costs. So my only bit is that understand the customer's requirement, and around that, if you build your solution, that will give you the right PM fit, the product market fit. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir, for such valuable insights. We also have our second panelist of the summit, Pushit Jain sir here, co-founder of Iran Eagle Wing Venture Alliance Network. We have online with us our chief guest, Mr. Vikas Chauhan. I would like to invite him to address the audience.
Good to hear the journeys of my fellow panelists, and it's always amazing to be in a crowd of young entrepreneurs trying to find direction and motivation and trying to solve the roadmap they would want to take for the problem that they have identified. I think the biggest aspect that I've seen over the years that get missed with most entrepreneurs is they have a solution in mind and then they go out and look for a problem. Now, interestingly, the challenge with that is you may find some problems that your solution can fit to, but you will never be able to scale it if you have not understood the problem really well. And that's what has been my learning through the years. Just to introduce myself, I'm an engineer by training, I did my electronics and communication engineering, worked in ITP for a couple of years, and then went to Bangalore to work in ITP, then came to Somaya 2008-10. Around the final trimester, I started India's first e-grocery business right after the hostel. Scaled it, reached a stage where it was doing around 40 lakhs business a month. We had a working capital support as we were taking the cash from the customer the same day and paying the vendors after 21 days. The business was fueling itself, reached a stage where we wanted to grow aggressively, and it was a wait and watch view from the VC side. Was getting married in 3 months and had negative cash flow, where I thought now that you need something more stable to look at. Happy to meet Prashant, and the problem that we then envisioned was how to address the information opaqueness that exists in healthcare. And the first thing we did was to launch India's first comprehensive drug database and provide information around it. And then the app went viral. We launched India's first e-pharmacy, diagnostic marketplace, and then kept on scaling the business. And today, MoneyLG, after Tata's partnership, is one of the largest digital healthcare platform in the country, serving everything that a patient might need, from pharmacy to e-consultation, primarily driven by information as its core. Around a year and a half back, when Tata's were coming in, I thought I can either be at 36,000 feet and enjoy this journey, or can go back to the ground and solve another unsolved problem. And that's where during the COVID I had multiple interaction for a lot of known and unknown people around me, where they were struggling with identifying the right hospital, right treatment for themselves. And that's where Hexa was born, to help identify and understand for a consumer their IPD procedures, and then handhold them throughout the journey in any concierge they would need during this. So be it insurance, financing, finding the right doctor, identifying the right procedures, post-op care, everything. So we building that platform to be the surgery destination in the country. So that's about me. Happy to be here, and all the best for your future.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for such valuable insights. I would now like to request Pujit sir if he can share his entrepreneurship experience.
Hi folks, good morning. I think I don't have much experience as the fellow panelists, quite young as compared to them, but I think really privileged to be here, share the panel with them, and learn a lot from their experience. Having said that, let me start by talking about my journey. As far as qualification is concerned, I love to be in finance. I've been as a family background has been into stock markets. So that's where the ambition to be in finance came in. Started doing, I had the passion or the enthusiasm to be a software engineer. But then being born in a Marwadi family, always talking about numbers, money and stuff, eventually went into commerce and took up CA as academics. While in that journey, again realized that I was quite a good fan of movies and web series. The first movie that clicked, or something that I picked from that movie, was Student of the Year, having seen Siddharth Malhotra getting into becoming an investment banker and taking home Alia Bhatt. So that kind of stuck with me. Then watched Suits, saw Mycross, Harvey Specter, loved the whole corporate world, the culture there, and got attracted to do corporate law. So along with my CA, I did LLB and then also pursued CFA. So that's been a complete, finance or corporate finance oriented academical background. Spent 3 years of my articleship on the financial domain side with, supporting startups, studying about or helping them on the startup consultancy part, helping them with project finance, etc. Did forensic audits, due diligence, were co-partners for SBI doing, during the time of Vijay Mallya and PNB debacles, we were the ones doing forensic audits for them. So did a lot of maths and analytical stuff, and then came across this whole startup ecosystem way back in 2017. That's when I finished my articleship and then started working on one startup, where I was instrumental in setting up the whole sourcing platform for this startup itself, home renovation. Tried and understood the problems that a venture faces, not just in terms of operations, but capabilities and resources. always the idea is to optimize in whatever you have. I'm sure most of you who have done commerce, taken commerce, you would have had a subject called OC in your 12. We all talk about optimization of resources and multiple factors, just filling up pages there. But realize that this is the core skill set that you need when you are, in a startup culture. Spent a year with the startup, got an opportunity to join Eagle Wings as one of the first employees. Way back, we were into investment banking, supporting growth stage startups, helping them with meeting right investors and helping them close their deals. Everybody's talking about being an entrepreneur, and when it comes to that, you ask people, how should the journey be? Most of the times you would hear things like, why don't you start looking out for problems and start solving them? But what I feel personally is, micro entrepreneurs are born, or entrepreneurs are born when they are working somewhere. You would have seen multiple startups like Udaan, House of Brands, guys like this, Mensa, etc. These are all ex-startup employees. The journey did not start when they started this venture, but it started long back when they were a part of those big startups or or maybe even small startups. Because the mindset, the way they train them, you are given a responsibility and you are required to, give your best, make sure that this is your own business or that whole division is your own, and you have to make it grow. You have to become irreplaceable there. The kind of solutions you come for that whole, responsibility or that particular job helps you develop a mindset, and that's where my development happened. When we were focused on investment banking, lockdown had happened, complete lockdown, wherein it was getting very difficult for us to find new deals. And deal flow had stopped. Not just that, funding had also stopped because VCs were more focused on supporting their own portfolio companies. That's when we realized, what about supporting early stage startups at this stage when somebody is getting an idea, but then the liquidity is dried up. So that's when we decided to transition or pivot into a startup studio. We like to call ourselves venture building VC. Fairly early stage, focused on early stage startups, idea stage founders. Guys come or folks come to us with an idea. When I say guys, I'm trying to be gender neutral, just using the phrase. So they come to us with an idea. The focus is to support them, help them evaluate, as Vikas also mentioned, more you talk to people, more you get to know, the reality of the problem at the ground level. Because as one individual, I would always feel that my idea is super. But then when I start to take a third person perspective, I get to know multiple suggestions, feedbacks about the particular idea, and then also it opens my eyes whether I should pursue that or not. Because if you were to pursue any idea that you get, you'll probably be, wasting time. But then when you start talking to people, that's where you come to know whether this is scalable enough, whether I should be spending my life on this or not. That's where we come in with the help of a network of mentors that we created. And then we started investing ourselves. Because if you're working with a startup for say 3 to 4 months, who better than us to cut the first check? And until unless we have our skin in the game, we can't really talk about convictions. So that's how the VC arm was born. Earlier it was all about startup studio, helping businesses build, but then also investing in them, turned ourselves into a VC. Hopefully, expecting a license, capital license from SEBI first quarter of 2023. Having said that, speaking of track record, speaking of portfolios that we've built, it's been almost 18 months since our transition. One of our first portfolio companies, we helped them scale up from $0 to $40 million today. A couple of other portfolio companies have already done subsequent, pre-Series A, Series A round of fundings. In terms of businesses, companies have gone up from 0 revenue to, I think, 4.5, 5 crores per month. It's all, team efforts. We're not trying to take credit from them, but the ability that, or the skill set that we bring to the table is be an entrepreneur with an entrepreneur and, grow the whole ecosystem. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. You're right. We all came with the dream of becoming Arjun Kapoor or Siddharth Malhotra, but then reality hits hard. Thank you very much. We would now like to begin with the panel discussion. The theme for the panel discussion is trade revolution and evolving opportunity for entrepreneurs. Our moderator for the discussion would be Siddhant Kaushik. I would like to invite him to the stage and take things forward. Please give a huge round of applause.
Hello everyone. Since being a part of ESET and having worked with various startups, I'm pretty sure majority of them are working with startups in the form of LPs or other stuff. What we actually want to know is how to keep yourself motivated, like day in, day out. Like if I talk about working as an entrepreneur, what happens is they see the first month or the second month, when the profits or the revenues are not showing up, we need to feel a bit disheartened and so usually how do you cope up with that? Like how do you cope up with failures? And how do you keep yourself motivated? So any one of you wants to go first?
Okay, this is a very, very difficult question because when you're working a job, you know what keeps you motivated because money is coming and you know promotion or like or see if you're unhappy, you know, like you stay in a low to medium for a very long period of time. If you're unhappy, then you can quit and change the job. But you know, money is something that keeps you motivated. So when you're working on your own, you know there are that is like you know I spoke to many entrepreneurs more or less. There are a lot of highs and a lot of lows kind of thing. So it is no longer, it is not a stable journey. It is not that, you know, every day will go similar. So some of the days you really feel good, some of the days you really feel bad. I think what is important is like, you know, how I really gone through the period is that I looked at, if you look at, you know, we are all geared to do a corporate job or geared to do a job. But if you look at anyone who's like, you know, freelancer or anyone who is an actor or a cricketer, so I spent a lot of time with the cricketers because when I was at SDFC, like we used to sponsor teams kind of thing. So I spent a lot of time personally with them. And they always have the self-doubt. You know, they don't know whether they'll be next match, they'll be getting selected or not. That's a niggle if they bowl fast, you know, they might get injured, they might be completely out for a year. They don't know whether they can come back and, you know, get a place or not. So every day there is doubt. They're always in that, see, you must have seen, you know, half of the bowlers, like they get injured, they never come back to the same thing. It is not that, you know, they are not really recovered. But they don't have the confidence to bowl at the same pace, they always believe they'll get injured. So what they go through is what they call is process. So again, if you bit Rahul Dravid and all, Intel, like, you know, Rahul Dravid told me once, like, you know, what he does before the match is 7 things which is in his control. 2 days before he will switch up everything, so no distraction. Second is he actually gets his spiritual focus back. He keeps his kids and everything in a place so that he doesn't have to really struggle hard to really find something. He remember previous such innings like where he has played in the play back in his mind. So he goes through emotions. So similarly, he told me one thing, like he said, Sanjay, who's the most successful batsman you have seen? So all of us are obviously says Tendulkar, right? He said, how many centuries and half centuries? Like, when you think Tendulkar is successful, when you will be happy that Tendulkar has scored some runs? I said, at least 50 to banana chahiye. He said, okay, how many centuries and half centuries he has done? So I calculated, we know 100 centuries, half century of kitna hoga, 200 hoga, 300 or 20 nahi. So how many innings he has played? So I had no clue. I somehow, like, you know what, I cricket box or something, I said, or around 900. He said he's the best batsman in the world. He's successful in your eyes only 33% of the time. He said, don't worry about the things, you know, what we actually tell myself. He said, what I told myself, the best batsman in the world is 33% time successful. Even if I'm 25% of the time successful, that is good enough. So that means I'll be successful in people's lives 1 out of 4 times. And he's going for that exam almost every match, twice, like in a spelling text, in T20, almost every alternate day kind of thing. So he has to motivate himself saying that, you know, failure is a very, very constant part of the journey, right? So most of the actors, same thing you can talk about actors. Like in even if I ask which is the best actor, he'll say Shahrukh Khan. How many movies he has done, hit movies? How many movies he has totally acted? What will be the ratio? Any guesses? What will be the ratio of hit movies of Shahrukh Khan? It will be probably lower. So what I'm saying, so whenever because we come from a thinking that everything, because we all good students mostly, and you know what school, good school scores, we always believe that, you know, everything we do will be like, you know, overnight will be successful. I think what you need to do is like, you know, accept failure as part of the process. what is in your hand is a process. As long as you are committed to the process, result will come. Same thing, obviously I can tell this, you'll observe that in life. See, a lot of people who dropped out while studying, they're not good students, okay? They started business or something, or if someone becomes lawyers, you'll see that they're, after 20 years, you'll find they're also equally successful. So what they've done, they took one thing and they've been at it. So eventually you are at it, you'll be successful. Like Vijay Sekhar Sharma is a very good friend of mine. For 15 years in his life, he used to come with a bag to sell his SMS product because I was a marketing head. So he was selling 197 SMS. And there are some 20 odd vendors. We never used to, like they said, okay, but we never used to take from him, we take from other vendors. But doing that, he figured, you must have heard his journey, there are a lot of videos available, doing that, he figured out there's a new opportunity. He bet everything into that. He almost took, got some, I think 5 lakh rupees, giving 40% of his company, which is unthinkable, Obviously, he's bought back later after getting investor money and all. But he believed that this idea will be successful. I think it is a belief. And to be at it, and while going through the difficult times, you have to remember the process. Look, this is the process, this is the grit. Again, when same thing about cricket, when they drop out of the team, they don't really sit and cry. They go back to the nets, they practice it, practice, go to the matches, score runs, then they come back. I think there is always opportunity for you to come back, even if you go wrong. That is what in startup world, there is a word called pivot. You can always pivot your startup, but before pivoting, you need to figure out where you went wrong, how can you do it, so that second time you'll be lucky, or the third time you'll be lucky, or fourth time you'll be lucky. But more important thing is the resilience and patience and the ability to go through the bad times equally well like you are going through the good times. Thank you.
So nothing much to add here. I think Sir has made it very correctly. To give you an example from Elon Musk's SpaceX journey, I'm guessing most of you must have already known this. So they were on the brink of bankruptcy. They tried the last time to achieve their rocket, to get their rocket to achieve orbital velocity and to actually go, right? So the point here is that around 2 decades back, they were on the verge of bankruptcy, and then they were able to achieve success. Now contrast that with now. What they are doing today is that they are doing. So today what they are doing is they are doing rapid iterations of their Starship hopper, which is to reach Mars. Now, how many of you know MVP? What is an MVP here? Minimum viable product. किसको पता है? किसको नहीं पता है? So, So an MVP is the basic product or service required for you to sell your product or service to the customer. It helps you to deliver basic aspects to the customer, but without having a lot of rigidity to it. So what it means is that today as Ekatra, we are able to deploy our solution without having our entire tech interface built. But we can do it. Tomorrow, once we know what is exactly what customers need, both from an enterprise, small enterprise, large enterprise, then we will be able to factor all of that into our eventual solution which is currently being built. Now, what SpaceX is doing is every single week they are putting out a new Starship hopper, okay? And even if the Starship hopper blasts when it is being put to the orbital test, it is still a validation and it still gives results which are used for the next iteration. So the point here is you don't have to achieve everything on day one. Make a model where you can rapidly iterate and take out learning from each of these iteration to have your final product ready. I think that's it.
I guess I don't have much to add, but a couple of mantras that I have or views in life. One is, whenever you're cornered, there are 146 options, available for you. If not, if there's no plan B, then what are you going to do about it? Nothing, right? So there's no point in living on crying about it. So let's just forget it and move on. So honestly, whenever there's a failure, there's no point in thinking about it, that getting stuck there and not working for your future or not being in the present. It's more about learning from the mistakes and then moving on and making sure that you don't repeat it. It's a very, very simple funda that since we were born, maybe since we started joining school until today, one or the other person would be telling you. It's very simple. No more fancy wordings to it, but the whole idea is to make sure that you learn from it and then don't repeat it. To relate it to some experiences. Whenever we are raising funds or whenever we are speaking to our co-investors, couple of times it so happens that they don't really like the idea and it's a rejection for us after having spent 3 months, 4 months on the whole deal. It so happens that once they issue a term sheet, still there is a rejection. But if you've lost 4 months, you've lost 4 months. You can't do anything about it. But then we learn from it and make sure that so this is what we've learned. In one of the deals that you're working with, we spent 4 months, the rejection came in after a term sheet. We lost 4 months. What we did from next time onwards, obviously we were able to raise some funds here and there. What we did next time onwards was not wait for one investor, went on with term sheets with 3 other investors simultaneously, and whoever invested first got the first entry. But that is how you learn from it. Don't repeat the mistakes, but keep going on. That's it.
Yeah, Vikas sir, anything that you want to add?
Yeah, so very interestingly, I also been part of the audience sitting there, and there was a panel, and the same question was asked 10 years back also, and one of the panelists said, you are not fit to be an entrepreneur if you need motivation. So, I heard that and I was like, okay, how do you humanly deal with this? And then the person was very clear that, if, as an entrepreneur you need motivation, you are in the wrong profession. And 10 years down the line, if I have to revisit that, I think that's very extreme way of looking at it. I think what Sir has mentioned here just now, that you need to have a process. I think even before that process, my journey, I've learned that you need to have a purpose. So in my first startup, e-grocery business, the matrix that I was chasing were, highest number of orders that we can achieve in Mumbai, what is the largest top line or margin that we can get, and everything was based on number. That if I hit this milestone, if I hit this number, that is what I need to go. So if in a month my revenue targets are not met, or if in a month that the cash flow is a bit strange, so that used to motivate me, and everything used to revolve around it. So over the time, 5-7 years down the line with 1MG, what happened was the same matrix continued initially, but slowly and steadily what we started gaining is a lot of customer love. A lot of people who have not used our services but gave us feedback. A lot of people shared what they felt after using our service, and then slowly it came to me that there is a problem that you are solving, and there is a purpose behind it. And the more we introspect, the more we learn, we realize the impact that you're creating on a society or a set of individuals or business partners, or anything that your business or your service or your aspect that you are trying to solve is able to impact. That's what keeps you going, and that has been my motivation or my aspect. So every time when we have a new team or any business function or any peer review, we always ask that what is the purpose that this team has, and it should be beyond numbers, because that's what makes us human. That's what makes us differentiate, and that's what makes us keep going. So you can have different process to deal with identification of purpose if it is getting missed, if you're missing the long-term aspect of it. So you can have different process. I've read multiples of books around it, and then experiences shared in such panels. You can divide your day in 4 parts, and each quarter start fresh. Even if one quarter is wasted, you have 3 more quarters, and multiple such things. But eventually, there is a simple one-line written on my desk. One is a picture which my daughter has drawn, and I keep changing whatever new picture she draws, and other is the purpose what I am here. If I'm staying away from my daughter and doing something, then it should be motivating enough to me. Otherwise, I would love to spend time with my family. So always remember the purpose, why you started and why you picked up this problem that you are solving. If that purpose remains clear and you have not solved it, then you just keep going. There's no option.
Okay, thank you, sir. And I hope every one of you has made notes of what our prestigious panelists have said. Yes. Now, sir, I have a question for Vikas sir specifically. Vikas sir, I want to know how your business was affected during pandemic. Since you are in the health sector, I actually want to know how your business was impacted. Was it in a positive way it was impacted, or it was in negative way that it got impacted? So I really want to know that.
So, there is a saying that overnight success is 10 years in making. So, COVID was the watershed moment for digital healthcare in the country. I think what we would have achieved in 4 or 5 years, COVID pre-owned everything in healthcare, from digital adoption to taking the systems forward. And just bringing digital evolution at a much faster pace than we would have imagined. So fortunately, unfortunately, we were at the positive end of the spectrum in COVID. Yeah, it impacted multiple aspects, but from from a pure purpose perspective, that what we were solving, COVID helped us see a lot of stakeholders recognizing what we are doing and participating with us in solving that problem. Two, the need of the hour, which was access to medicine, access to quality information, access to diagnostic testing, COVID testing, everything was something that we have already envisioned. A lot of moving pieces were there. We were able to quickly scale and deliver those services when it was required. Three, a lot of stakeholders who have been holding themselves back or have not tried the services came into the system. So a lot of doctors who have never tried EHR before, government who have not brought the right regulatory policies to address it, like the teleconsult policy. Everything moved so fast, and it brought unimaginable benefits to the consumer. So in terms of adoption, in terms of creating impacting value, and in terms of seeing what execution or truly unfolds when your vision comes through is something that we vision during that time. There were new problems that were identified, and there were a lot of areas where we felt that we still have a long way to go, and HEXA is one of those aspects. So yeah, that has been it had its own set of challenges. There were numerous challenges that came in terms of scaling, in terms of keeping the operations going, keeping the continuity of service. But we had a fantastic team in place. We were ready for the challenge. We had resources to deliver that, and it turned out to be a good time for digital healthcare in general.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your insights. Now, sir, just sitting here. So, sir, my entrepreneurship journey started when I saw TV Picture for the first time. And I felt a lot of the people, when they saw that show, their entrepreneurship journey started. So, ever since then, there has been a major boom and growth in people getting involved in startups, starting their own business. My question for all of you is, do you see that, if I talk about economic development happening in the future, that the mainstream thing which is going to push India towards that economic development is going to be startups and entrepreneurs? And do you see India's future going towards that side?
Well, definitely, if you look at Shark Tank is something which has really brought startup thing to the young school kids almost, like anyone who is more than 10 or 12, at least in urban households, they're talking about it. I am involved with a lot of this incubators kind of thing. I go to IIT Bombay. So last couple of times, like last 2 months, I must have gone 3 times. First year student in IIT Bombay thinking about doing a startup, which is unthinkable 5 years back also. Because third year, fourth year student used to think. Now first year student is thinking, and they are like coming up with ideas. So this time they had a very interesting thing, like they had a car, you have to sit in a car, so the guy has to give a pitch till the time the campus run is over. So then the next guy comes and sits. I saw kids coming, first year kids, they are thinking of a startup idea from class 8 or 9. So from class 8, that person has thought about a startup and then trying to modify and obviously pivot and doing this thing. So as the opportunity increases, and the people see success. So good thing about that, now you can see a lot of successes. 5 years back there are not so many successes. Now with more than 100 unicorns and all, people know this is a now. If you look at the politicians are talking about startup ecosystem. Yesterday I was there in another place where the minister Mr. Lodha was there. So he was talking about how startups are going to differentiate our country, our state, how the states are taking effort. Like 2 weeks back I was in startup Odisha. So they are talking about how the Odisha ecosystem is working now. Every state is almost competing against each other to make the ecosystem work. The policies need to be done. Again, still a lot more need to be done to make it India is a very startup friendly place. But today India is almost number 3rd largest startup ecosystem there across Israel. So we are just behind US and China. US, the unicorn numbers are almost 4 times than India, and China is probably 3 times than India. But if you look at last year, the numbers which are actually becoming unicorns, most of all 3 countries are almost the same number of unicorns. They're slightly ahead, but it is almost similar. So what I want to say that India is a big country. To startup to make a difference, there are huge opportunity for startups to solve the challenges. I think that is why today more than 30,000 startups are there working in different fields. So more and more startups will come up. But as the ecosystem is becoming stronger, the success will increase. That will again encourage many more people to really go and do that. So I believe change will come, but when and how or how large is the change, I will not be able to comment.
Hi. So I think as Vikas has mentioned earlier, you need to chase impact and not revenue. The reason for that is because your vision has to be very big, very huge, and something which drives you, motivates you for years to come. Having said that, not having sustained revenue means that tomorrow your startup might fail, you will have to shut shop. Your employees will not be able to fend for their families. So that's not a very good scenario. The other side to this is that once you know that there is an impact happening for your customers, the customer levels Vikas mentioned is coming to you. This is where you can now iterate much more rapidly on your products. Work on your supply chain if you're into products, work on your service delivery if you're into service, and try to enhance your customer experience by focusing on the user journey. So as an entrepreneur wannabe or as an entrepreneur, somebody who's already started your journey here, you need to focus really on the customer journey, the user journey rather. So that is very crucial. A lot of startups, they start off very good, they go viral, they achieve success, revenue-wise, customer love-wise. The moment you don't have proper processes in place, all of this goes down the drain because you do not have something which is driving and motivating your employees. You have to understand that today if you have been able to deliver your customers an X amount of value, tomorrow when you scale up, it is very difficult to ensure that value is replicated across all of your customer delivery points and also at the same time enhancing that. So that is something we have to really focus on. It's very difficult to do this with scale. Things tend to break up. Something else I just want to add here. I haven't spoken a lot about what I've been doing as Group or as Ekatra. So fortunately or unfortunately, as Ekatra, a micro-learning platform leveraging low cost, low tech, SMS, WhatsApp to deliver learning at scale, we've been able to get a lot of love and affection from other countries, Africa, South America, even US. But in India, when we go and talk to companies, they say, "Ye nahi chalega, humko samajh mein nahi aa raha hai." So it is not very easy. It is not very difficult also. You need to match your language with the customer so that they understand the value you're trying to provide to them.
Hi. I think period pictures you said, right? It's not just about that show. It's more about the ecosystem around you, things that things that you see, things that you hear, things that you're being taught nowadays in P schools or management schools. It's more than the academics. It's more about the culture that you get to see in the professional life. The startup culture. It started with dot-com boom. Then there was the complete journey on the real estate side, and then things came on towards this startup ecosystem as we speak today. 2019, 2020, 21, it was a funding boom, and suddenly people started talking about funding mentor. It's actually, the ecosystem which is developing, which is building thanks to the education system, thanks to the digital infra that is being developed in the country today. The smallest piece of information is reaching the smallest town. A couple of weeks back, I was in IIIT Bhagalpur, remotest location, where IIIT is situated. It was very difficult for me to reach there from Patna, almost a 9-hour journey. Student out there, very much enthusiastic, very much passionate about having to be a part of the startup ecosystem. One guy came and asked a question, saying, "Sir, I have been, making business कर रहा हूँ, solving a very simple problem जो आप ये newspaper और dairy वाले देखते हो, जो घर घर पे अपनी दूध पहुँचा रहे हैं, newspaper पहुँचा रहे हैं, but I am trying to aggregate it and then make it a centralized supply. काम अच्छा खासा चल रहा है, पैसा अच्छा खासा बन रहा है, but I am not motivated. कि यार मुझे ये, I don't want to do this lifelong because the scalability and the market is small. But I was so fascinated and excited to see that in the remotest location there is somebody thinking about a problem and trying to solve that problem. It all comes from the whole bit on digital infrastructure, the way it is getting developed today. Be it movie shows, be it TV series, be it docu-series, or in fact books, people's experiences, interviews, etc. And I think it is to come. The boom is yet to come. It's just started. It's just the tip of the iceberg. But I'm sure things are definitely there to change. Given the Indian ecosystem, given the Indian market, the population, there is a lot problems, a lot more markets to be discovered yet.
And is there anything, Vikas, you would like to add?
No, I think it's mostly well covered. I think always the aspect of why you are doing this, why you are here, and what is that it will impact. It can be a small community, it can be few individuals, it can be a business, it can be society at large. If you keep that aspect clear, it's always one day at a time, going in the right direction with the right intent, and you keep taking the next step. There was this story I heard on a podcast a day, 2 days back. So there is this horse and a rider going through a dense forest, and there suddenly this fog comes because of winter and they can't see. And the rider is worried that there are different forces, evil forces, and how will they cross the jungle. And seeing the master sunken low, the horse talks to the master and says, "Hey, what's wrong?" He says, "I don't know which direction to go, and nothing is clear. The sun is not there, the stars are not there. I don't know which direction to take, and all my instincts are not working. And what should I do?" The horse asks, "What can you see?" So he sees, "I can just only see the next 1 feet from here and nothing else." So he said, "Why don't you do that? You take next step, what you can do, and then you start from there, and then you take the next step, and then you take the next step." Entrepreneurial journeys are mostly that you keep your direction and purpose right, and keep taking one step. You may take 1 or 2 steps in the wrong direction, but you keep yourself course correcting. It has happened, multiple stories are there where the course has been corrected far too late, far too early, and that's the journey. Um, it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of perseverance, it takes a lot of things. It's all you are here at this point, I'm sure all those aspects are there. I think most people lose out on purpose, and that's my biggest learning. Always have a clear purpose for you. That should solve most of the things for you.
Thank you, Philip, for this. And I just want to say that thanks for answering these questions, because most of us have these questions, but we don't know who to ask to. Of course, we can ask Radha, but thank you for coming and telling us about your experience and what you feel about the future of entrepreneurship in India, because that actually motivates us. Like Sir said, that is about the experts. The big boom is yet to happen. So hopefully, we'll be a part of it. And I will now hand over to Vijay. So thank you.
Thank you very much for such insightful discussion. Please give a huge round of applause. We now open the floor for Q&A. The audience line on the Zoom platform can convey their queries with chat. And any questions? If you have any queries, you can raise your hands. Please.
Hello sir, good afternoon. Hello sir.
Could you please be a bit louder?
Okay. Hello sir, good afternoon. Actually, I wanted to ask, since there is a competition in the Indian sector, right? Since there are a lot of startups which are coming up. So, what are your suggestions to evaluate the longevity of any startup idea that one is, has in mind that he believes it will work in the long run or not? So, any
None of the ideas are like, there are very few ideas which are unique. It is always about the execution. And while doing execution, like, I think I think if we all the politicians talk about that, how you understand to stay true to the purpose of the startup. So none of the ideas are actually unique. Most of the ideas are like any idea you think of, search in the Google, you'll find somebody else somewhere in the world is actually doing it. I have not seen any single idea so far, and I've almost interacted with almost 200, 250 startups, which is really unique. Nobody has thought through, right? The interesting thing is not idea is not really anyone's. That's why ideas are always freely available. But it's how you execute it, how you stay to the purpose, why you did it, what is the problem statement you're looking at, how you're solving it differently than others, faster, quicker, and growing the startup and doing it in a like what we say that at a way that which is probably will generate money or revenue in a longer time. It's a revenue-oriented startup. It's an impact-oriented startup. I will create a bigger impact going forward. That is what is more critical. So you should, if you are thinking of any idea, you shouldn't be really bothered how many people are thinking it. But once you thought about the idea, just go to the net and see if this idea really done to the dust, and in the sense 10 guys are already doing it, and you are the 11th guy trying to do it. Again, there are a lot of studies. Google is not the first search engine place. Like you look at political parties, app is not the first political party to start. It is always about, it is not about doing the same thing, but the same thing can be done better. So even Tesla is not the first car company to do, but they really rethink the entire car model and doing electrical car kind of thing. So it is important in that way. And second thing is that do you have the wherewithal to really pull it out? In the sense, do you have the team to really do it? Do the investor will have confidence that you can pull it? Because the initial stage before building it, almost building it, you need somebody's confidence to focus on your thing. One is idea, your prototype, MVP, and then the team. I think all these things will make a difference. And going forward, staying to the purpose, pivoting when it is required. So that it is not that it is a straight line. It is always a complex thing. But as you stay true to the thought of yours and try to think how you can actually do it differentiated way, you'll always get success.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let me give you another perspective to this. Hi, can you? So the other perspective is that, let's say today in the Indian nascent BEV market for power two-wheelers, okay, PW. So we see there are a lot of newer brands coming to the market. They all are actually crowding the market. What will make you stand out with your offering is if you have a differential advantage. Your differential advantage could be your unique tech, it could be your unique customer experience. Now, once you are able to get a differential advantage out in the market, somebody else is going to try and copy your unique aspects. This is where execution, as sir mentioned, becomes paramount for you to be able to scale, maintain your QC, and also deliver again and again the same aspect which you are now being known for. Okay.
I would actually love to hear Vikas's thoughts on this.
So again, this is one of those questions which I have answered at Somaya campus as well. It always comes up. So the way I look at it is as simple as that. How many of you want to lose weight? That unfortunately not present there physically, but I ask the same question. How many of you want to lose weight? And most of the audience would say yes. And then I would ask that how many of you know how to lose weight? And many of you would again raise the hands. It's a simple diet and nutrition. There's no rocket science to it. Everybody will have an answer to it. And how many of you are able to do it? And then suddenly you see a very less percentage of the crowd have their hands raised. Ideas, very few are unique. Over a time, if you see, there is, in fact, during this last 1 hour that we've been interacting, our team A picked me and they said they had a similar idea around the hospitals that what I'm doing. So it's not so patents and innovations separately, but I'm sure on that also a lot of people will have a similar idea somewhere in the world, and from Google Maps to everything, there had been another individual or many individuals who had the same idea. It all boils down to the roadmap and execution. It all boils down to that. It is that perseverance, it is the journey who's ready to take it. I don't know if you recently read about that ChatGPT, which is an open AI interactive solution that they have put across. I was amazed. I asked multiple questions to it, and they were able to come up with 80-85% that I would have thought and spent hours writing it. I asked them to write a product strategy for something that we were thinking, and I had few thoughts in mind. 80% of my thoughts were already there. It was that 5-10% which were unique to me, and that's what separates. So, in an idea, your execution is what will separate. If you see in e-commerce for lifestyle products, there are multiple websites, but everybody had a different approach to it. 50-60% will be overlapping, but the rest of it, how you go about it, the speed of execution, the efficiencies and the scale that you want to look at, and obviously resources. These three play the differentiating role. An idea without resources, you can't do much. You need resources. An idea which is good, you have fine resources, but you're not able to scale. Again, will face challenges. E-grocery before Big Basket or before Blinkit or Loofers, I've done it for almost 2.5 years, but I never had the resources to scale it up, and it wouldn't see the scale I wanted to put it through. So execution makes a difference, and there are elements that when added to that execution is what results in success. That would be my thoughts on it.
Thank you very much, sir. Next question, please.
So, you are ecosystem health partner, right? So, for example, we are a school of around 600 students in the first year, 600 students in the second year. I'm sure a few of them have some ideas. So, how do they reach out to you? I mean, one is what kind of platforms do you exist on so that they are able to find you? Because there are quite a few of so that's what I want to know.
So let me go first because I need to leave. I have another meeting. So sorry to taking the first turn here. Hi, Radha, how are you? Good to have a question from you. See, the world has changed drastically and it keeps changing at a very rapid pace, and technology has somehow influenced every aspect of our living. 10 years back, LinkedIn was not that strong, social media was not that strong medium, but today it has turned out to be one of the corners on which the human interactions are defined. Today itself, from Sumaya Entrepreneurship Cell, few of the individuals who are sitting here have visited my LinkedIn page and they know where I am and how to reach me. If you want to reach out to someone, I think everybody in this panel should be easy. You can ask the team members who are organizing this function to reach out to us, and then you will get a phone number, email, or whatever to connect with us. I think the bigger question which I think needs to be addressed is how to reach out to anyone else in the industry that you need guidance, association, or anything, especially when it comes to funding. It can be a vertical or industry leader or multiple other stakeholders. I think the first and foremost skill that entrepreneur needs to develop is networking. You need to find connections. You need to figure out what connection will work at what time. Without that, it's very difficult. So that's one. You need to figure out, and it can be as simple as following up on social media, following up on news articles, journalists, whatever it takes. You just have to figure out a connection that can connect you to the right person. If the easiest way of reaching out to social media doesn't work, then you go up to their LinkedIn page and see who are the people which are in common, and then reach out to your network, post on social groups, whatever it takes. You just keep going and identifying one human link after another to reach out to that person. Most entrepreneurs, most industry colleagues that I've seen are more than happy to help. I haven't seen anybody not able to find time to talk to a budding entrepreneur, because everybody has a similar journey. They have seen the hardship, they have seen the challenges when it comes that, a timely help when it is not there, what impact it can lead to. So most of them will be more than happy to help. It is your persistence that needs to convince them constantly. Given the time constraint, time of the year, time of the month, time of what the personal aspect that person is going through, you may not have the answer to the first go. There will be times that you may get the answer in the first go, but you need to be relentless. You need to keep pursuing it. 5, 6, 7, 10 times, just keep following. Don't give up. Most of the people will come around in it. So that's what I would like to say. Sorry, I need to leave. I have another meeting. Thank you so much for having me. Lovely interacting with you all.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to you, sir, for giving us your time and taking out time from such a busy schedule for this event. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Please give me the
To add on, I think what he said is very, very relevant. To add on is not that how to reach out someone. It is about what you need at what stages of the startup. Your early stages, you need probably the validation of the idea. So you need to validate. How do you validate your ideas? There are a lot of validation. For example, IIT Bombay just used me for validating their startup ideas. I'm just giving an example. So every time I go, some student will come and they create more opportunities like this. But like me, they get some 5 or 6 guys. Where the students will come and they will give their idea, and you within a 5 minutes, 10 minute time, you'll say what is missing or what you think probably can be done differently. It is not that I'm the only guy doing it. There are 5 or 6 guys like me who are doing it. So they get immediate idea that whether the idea is good or not. So let's say you have done validation, you have found the company, you need probably the first POC, but you need customers. So you need different set of guys. Then let's say POC customer you have got, then you need funding. You need different type of guys. How to really reach different segment is much, much more critical. So again, I'll just give an example. Like he said, LinkedIn, I just put an angel investor. Now every day there are some 3 startups writing to me, or the 3 angel networks are writing to me. We have got startups. Why don't you invest in this? Just by putting angel investor. So somebody definitely doing a keyword search of angel investor and trying to reach out to all of them. Now also someone is coming, some network is coming to meet me here. So I said, no, I'm not free, I'm just going here. He said, okay, I'll come to Somayan and I'll meet you there. Because they want to add more angel investors so that, the startup they're showcasing will get this thing. I have invested in one startup, and that's a student startup, and they did a brilliant job. And now they're more than $100 million old. So what these guys did, they were second year students of BITS Pilani. So this is a content startup, but Paper Connect, I think if you look at that, it is really done well. So there's a very simple idea. Any company or anyone has a content need, they will do it faster, better, and cheaper than anything else. So while doing that, see, most of the students are writing themselves, like on this, because obviously BITS Pilani student is writing, the quality of content is really good. And because they're thinking of startup, they're charging like 1 rupee per word or something, which is bare minimum. So they have to get brands. So they got people like me to say, sir, you angel invest so that you will help us to open the brands. Then he said, I need people, some five guys like you. I need two big angel investor like this. Then I need Ratan Tata. This guy was sitting with me. I need Ratan Tata. I said, how will you reach Ratan Tata? He said, very simple. BITS Pilani alumni. I'll see in Tata Group who is the highest position. I'll write to him. He'll introduce me to Ratan Tata. It is as simple as that. But I'm saying, like, you have to be hustler. If you want to really get help, you want to run behind and try to get it done. So by joining, don't do a lazy work by like joining a class. Okay, this I will arrange some investors for me. And so this is not going to work. If you think about entrepreneur, you have to be a hustler. As long as you stay hustler, as long as you true to the purpose and say that I need this by this time, you will be successful. You will not believe it, that same startup, I initially committed to 10 lakhs. So after 2 weeks he came back and said, sir, ये oversubscribe हो गया आपको सर, आपको हम लोग chance देंगे but 50% देंगे. बोला फिर मत लो ना तुम्हारा नहीं we want you, but we can't take 10 lakhs, we give you take 5 lakhs. Same startup within 2 years gave me return of 20x, and I've exited that company. So because what I liked about that guy, forget about the startup. By seeing the founder, you know this guy will be successful. Because the way he was approaching the whole thing, step by step, in a very differential approach than almost like 20 odd startup founder we shall see. So what I'm saying, as a student, never think that you have lack of resources. You have got enough and more resources. Today LinkedIn is there, today Google is there, so you can actually search someone, find a connection. Everybody is like segregated by 6 degrees of separation. You will definitely get someone, and you'll reach out and but you should know what you are actually searching.
I guess being a student myself, I can really relate to the problems that you point out, ma'am. You can ask your students if they need a ticket to a concert. वो कहाँ से ढूंढ के लेके आ जाते हैं. So they have the ability to be, to find that right connect. अगर उनको कोई importance चाहिए कुछ exam के पहले, they can still get the right person and get to the core of it. So it's all about trying to understand the importance and then exploring all the possible options. ये केस सोमैया कॉलेज नहीं है, IIT कॉम्पिटेंट जाके भी उस बंदे से जाके कुछ डिटेल्स लेके आ सकते हैं. So they have the ability, just utilizing it.
So 3 things for you specifically. One is Twitter. People are actually raising funding directly by talking to people on Twitter. Twitter is also giving you much more engagement, easy to talk to people, they respond faster compared to LinkedIn. LinkedIn pe, because you are a third person, maybe a third connection, they may not even see your message most likely. So having said that, LinkedIn is also a very good thing because depending on your network, you are just 2 or 3 networks away from the person you want to reach out to. You figure out who is in your common element and you have him or her approach that individual. The third aspect is incubators, accelerators. So I was waiting for someone to ask this. We as Egatra are incubated in Riddle. That's how they actually found me. So for you specifically, ma'am, for the students, please approach Riddle. They have a large network of VCs, investors, startups, currently incubated in Riddle, and also who raise funding, they've gone out of Riddle. So they have a lot of industry connects. Now, accelerators and incubators, you need to do some research on all of this. Let's say today you are at the idea stage. So you go to an incubator, you get incubated there. They may take, let's say, 2-3% of your company's valuation, but they give you support in terms of validation of your idea. They will help you to network with people. They will help you to actually go raise funding, build PPT, helping you in doing a PPT. Now, once you cross this idea stage and raise initial investment, this is where you can go to an accelerator. They will help you to scale your revenue from X to 10X. उसका काम ये नहीं है to help you to make your idea better. Their only focus is go to market or in short sales. So depending on which stage you are in, you have to figure out where you want to go. We again as Egratra have been a part of multiple accelerators, incubators in India, abroad, Google Accelerator and so on. You have to go out, research all of this. This is all available on Google. You just have to figure out what you want, apply, keep on applying. We were rated, so we applied to almost 100 applications. We've been able to convert, let's say, 5 to 10 over the past 2 years now. But each of these have given us a lot of value. Something else. So apart from Egratra, I am also working on a different startup idea. So for that startup, I am a part of an accelerator with ISB Hyderabad. There I got to know a lot of nitty-gritties about sales, go-to-marketing, and this was again a free course. They gave me a certificate also for entrepreneurship, so a good thing. So my point is, don't sit idle. It's very easy to watch OTT videos. I also watch, but I also realize it's been 1 hour. Now you stop that. My humble request to you is, when you have time, try to please research on what you want to do, maybe in entrepreneurship. Not entrepreneurship as a career, try to increase your value in terms of maybe doing some courses or learning new technologies. Technology itself is very challenging because every 6 months something new comes in. But as long as your foundation is correct, you can learn anything. I did my BCA almost 15 years, around a decade back. But today, if I have to talk to, let's say, the Egratra's PM, I know what they are doing, and because I work with multiple startups with multiple companies, if there is a process deficiency, I try to correct all of these. So you really need to be on your toes.
Thank you very much, sir. Please give a huge round of applause. What an empowering discussion it was. It's amazing to hear the journey of our families. With this, we are coming towards the end of our panel discussion. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Ujit sir, Sanjay sir, and Prasenjit sir for giving us their valuable time, for gracing us the event, and today by sharing their opinions, views, and also enlightening us with their knowledge. We are so honored to host such an illustrious speaker. Thank you very much, sir. Now I will request Prima ma'am to give a small memento to Prasenjit sir as an appreciation for his time, valuable insight, and knowledgeable session. A token of gratitude. I would now like to request Kranti ma'am to give a small memento to Sanjay sir. I would now like to request Radha ma'am to give a small memento to Pujit sir. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. I would now like to request teachers to say a few words.
So we're very happy to have I don't know how many of you were listening. So, Prema and I, frankly, listened very well. And we're going to be talking about all that we spoke about in our classes. As typical youngsters, most of them are on the phone and, on the internet. But nevertheless, I want to say that these are pearls of wisdom. When you start up or when you read about entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial journeys, you realize that all of these things make sense. You listen to some of this in the next trimester. Most of you are first year students, I think, except for a couple. So, in the first year and third trimester, we do something on entrepreneurship. We invite you to walk across to Grilling. We do another course of Grilling. Gayatri is part of that course. Tomorrow, we bring the fish presentation from 10 to 20 and beginning Jenny is coming for that tomorrow. Yeah. So around 3 or 4 evaluators and we're going to try and look at those cases. And we have a small office, so which the institute has put together. So tomorrow there are 10 startups which are from Grilling, which are teaching along with 60 students from. So there are 10 group students, and the amount that we're planning on giving out tomorrow is 23 lakhs. So maybe I don't know how many students, how many ladies will take that. And this is our 4th year. Yeah, this is the 4th year that we're doing this. So every year 3 or 4 startups. One of them has been a startup from our own, from Aegis Umaya, who also has won that. So, and also very happy to have all of you here. And happy that Vikas could join us. Vikas is our blue-eyed boy, where entrepreneurship is concerned. We have quite a few like that, but we don't get everybody together. It would be lovely to have all of us, all the entrepreneurs from CIMSR, KG-SIM as we call it now, to be together. So good being with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I'll now request the events team to guide our panelists to the lunch area. We are going on air now.